seemed an unlikely setting for what would become one of the largest bank burglaries in American history. In the spring of 1972, the quiet, sun-soaked suburb of Laguna Niguel, California, seemed an unlikely setting for what would become one of the largest bank burglaries in American history. The community was peaceful, home to professionals, retirees, and an air of safety that lulled its residents into believing crime was a distant worry. Yet, beneath the surface, a storm was brewing, a meticulously planned operation led by a mastermind who had spent years perfecting the art of the heist. At the heart of the operation was Amil Dinsio, a man who had earned his reputation as one of the most brilliant criminal minds of his time. From his modest roots in Youngstown, Ohio, Amil had risen through the ranks of organized crime, not by force or intimidation but by his extraordinary ability to crack safes and evade capture. He was a man of precision and patience, traits that made him both respected and feared within the underworld. Amil didn't see himself as a petty criminal, he was an artisan of theft, and this heist would be his magnum opus. The target was the United California Bank. Amil had learned, through a confidential informant, that the bank's vault might hold a treasure beyond his wildest dreams. According to the source, President Richard Nixon had allegedly stashed a significant amount of cash there, money that had been laundered and hidden to avoid scrutiny. Amil knew this could be a myth, but the prospect of such a payday was irresistible. The vault was also home to countless safe deposit boxes, filled with valuables that could easily surpass even the wildest estimates. But this wouldn't be a one-man job. Amil began assembling a team, selecting individuals not only for their skills but also for their loyalty. His brother, James Dinsio, was his right-hand man, a skilled accomplice with years of experience by his side. Harry the Hat Barber, a smooth-talking con artist, was the team's lookout and logistics expert. Charles Mulligan, an explosive specialist, and a few others rounded out the crew. Each member brought something vital to the table, and together, they formed a team that operated like a well-oiled machine. In the weeks leading up to the heist, the group relocated to California, renting a modest home in the area to serve as their base of operations. The house became a hive of activity as they planned every detail of the burglary. Amil was relentless in his insistence on precision. The men spent hours poring over blueprints of the bank, studying the vault's layout, and preparing their tools. Amil even timed how long it would take to drive to the bank, ensuring that they could navigate the streets unnoticed. One key part of the plan was bypassing the bank's alarm system. Amil was aware that even the most advanced systems of the day had vulnerabilities. He devised a strategy to disable the alarms before they could alert authorities. This was critical. They needed enough time to break into the vault, clear out the cash and valuables, and vanish without a trace. The heist began on the night of March 24, 1972. The team waited until the cover of darkness enveloped Laguna Niguel, and the streets emptied of all activity. Dressed in dark clothing and equipped with tools of their trade, they made their way to the bank. The plan was to break in through the roof, a tactic that would give them access to the building without setting off any exterior alarms. The rooftop entry went smoothly. Once inside, the team moved with practiced efficiency. Mulligan set to work on the vault door, using explosives to create a small but effective entry point. The noise was a calculated risk. Amil had chosen a bank in a relatively isolated area to minimize the chance of detection. The explosion was muffled, and no alarm sounded. The vault was theirs. Inside, they found more than they had hoped for. The vault was packed with cash, gold, jewelry, and other valuables stored in safe deposit boxes. Over the course of several hours, they emptied the boxes, working systematically to avoid leaving any clues behind. Each member of the team had a specific task, and they moved with military precision. By the time the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, they had amassed a haul estimated at over $9 million, equivalent to nearly $60 million today. But even the best laid plans can go awry. As the team packed their loot and prepared to leave, they failed to account for one critical element: the forensic evidence they might leave behind. In their haste to clear the vault, they neglected to clean up traces of their presence. Fingerprints, footprints, and other small but damning pieces of evidence were scattered throughout the crime scene. The team made their escape without incident, returning to their rented house to divide the spoils. From there, they went their separate ways, confident that they had pulled off the perfect crime. For weeks, the heist remained undiscovered. It wasn't until bank employees arrived to open the vault that the magnitude of the crime was revealed. News of the burglary spread like wildfire, and federal authorities quickly became involved. The FBI launched an intensive investigation, piecing together the evidence left behind. A partial fingerprint, tire tracks near the scene, and witnesses who recalled seeing unfamiliar faces in the neighborhood all contributed to the case. Slowly but surely, the trail led back to Amil and his crew. Despite their best efforts to cover their tracks, the team's luck began to run out. One by one, the members were apprehended, and under pressure, some began to cooperate with authorities. Amil was eventually captured, and his carefully constructed criminal empire began to crumble. The trial that followed was one of the most high-profile cases of its time, and the heist became a cautionary tale about the perils of ambition and greed. In the end, the 1972 United California bank burglary became a symbol of both the brilliance and the flaws of human ingenuity. Amil Dinsio and his crew had orchestrated one of the most daring heists in history, but their failure to account for the smallest details ultimately led to their downfall. To this day, the story remains a fascinating chapter in the annals of American crime, a reminder that even the most elaborate plans can unravel in the face of unforeseen consequences.